In the first video, we introduced the data model. Now we're ready to start creating records. So this is Accelerate Impact, Outcome Basics, Define Outcome and Activities. Good video. If you haven't seen it, worth watching. Building out your trial. It's worth doing if you don't have a trial. So our big step here is to create an outcome. The steps here are pretty clear. So the instructions are to go to the app launcher, find Outcome Management, and we're in the Outcome Management app. And this is the console view, which means you have to click here to see your navigation menu. And then you could scroll down in that menu. And we're selecting Outcomes because we're going to create an outcome. Note here too, we're dropped into a list view for outcomes, and we can view recently viewed, we can view all. This is a trial org, and so at this point we just have one outcome. Taking a quick look at what it is. You can see this was created when I built the trial org. It has a name, it's active, it's short-term increase, and it's about improving participant nutrition through nutrition education. Looking at the related, we find that we have related outcome activities, an indicator, an impact strategy assignment. So looking at the Salesforce data model, for an outcome, we have related outcome activities, indicator assignments, and impact strategies. And for my alternative view, an outcome has outcome activities, indicator assignments, and impact strategy assignments. And master detail is coming from outcome activities. Just so we read it, outcomes are the changes expected in your clients. So returning to our original tab, we're in Outcomes. We're going to click New here. The new record is showing here, and this is showing all outcomes over here, because that's the list view we're looking at. We're naming it Increase High Food Security. The status is active. But we can have one as planned, completed, or canceled. Our intended direction is an increase. We want to increase food security. Our term is medium term. Again, this is a definition you'll have to work with as an organization. This source field is helpful. As you compare against other organizations, it's helpful to know whether or not your outcomes are standard outcomes that others use or are custom and unique to your organization. And then lastly, we're going to put in a description that provides a bit more context. Interesting use of the word high there, but we're going to work with that. Now we save it. We get a note that it was created, and we can look at our related records to see what's related. When we created an outcome, no other records were created. And now that we've created an outcome, we want to connect it to the activities that are going to create that outcome. So the outcome activity connects the outcome with a program, benefit, or goal definition. Interesting that it's pointing you back to the trail that we just finished, looking at program and benefit records and also goal definitions. So that's where this is showing up, but they don't really reference it. Looking back at our data model, an outcome doesn't have any parents. What it just has is these child records. So now we're going to focus on building an outcome activity, which requires us to think about, is it related by type to program, goal, or benefit? So for their example, they're going to use the food distribution program. Much of this will depend on your reporting. How do you actually want to roll up this information? How do you want to share it with others? We're clicking on the related here. We want to create the outcome activity. So we're going to click here, and then we're going to click New, Outcome Activity. We're going to name it. I like this naming convention for name because we're linking the food distribution program with the outcome Increase High Food Security. Increase high food security, that's the outcome. the type, because we're connecting it to a program, is be going to program, but could also be to a benefit or a goal definition. And we can even get to the fact that programs can have subprograms, so there's a lot of options there to play with. Because we're setting it as a program, we're going to search programs, and obviously food distribution is what we're going to be working with here. Note that this same increase high food security could also have been dealing with nutrition education or food systems development. So it gets very complicated in terms of how you establish these relationships. We're not using a benefit or a goal, which is interesting because there are some fields that would allow us to select which program, but we won't go into that here. We're going to save this. And notice here, again, this is the console view. We have the increase high food security outcome here. We have the food distribution here. Looking at related, nothing there. And looking at increase here, again from a detail side, we're looking at the related list. We now have this one showing. So note that just by floating over the field, we get additional information. So the next video is going to focus on indicator definitions so we can build out the indicator assignment.